Good afternoon, listeners. These are your hosts, Yawar and Nabil, bringing you some exciting news in a slightly different format from our usual show format. So, we want to do an episode of Cambrian Explosion news. Speaking of Cambrian Explosion, the name refers to sudden emergence of many different varieties of life forms on our planet, which is interesting in the context of the discussion that we want to have today. We want to bring you two pieces of interesting news. The first piece we'll tackle first is apparently there's been possible signs of simple biological life detected on a certain planet, which is about 110 light years away from Earth.
Yeah,
Nabil?
this is so super exciting. I mean, it's not definite proof of life,
Right.
but um, it is proof of the first signs of it. What has been detected? Well, there's a planet that is within the habitable zone, is a terrestrial planet
Of its own sun, yeah.
of its own sun. It is around a red dwarf. So the likelihood of it having complex life is low because red dwarfs just don't have enough light to allow complex life as far as we understand at the moment. But simple life can exist around red dwarfs in habitable zone planets, and the planet also has water. This is what we knew already. But in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month or so, the news has been coming through that they used the new JSWT telescope to do a spectrographic analysis of the atmosphere, and they are detecting both carbon dioxide and sulfide based compounds,
DMS, dimethyl sulfide.
dimethyls, yeah, DMS, which, as far as we understand it over here on Earth, do not occur naturally out of natural processes outside of those processes that are driven by life. In fact, on Earth, in the northern hemisphere, under the Arctic, it's basically three or four different processes, all based out of bacteria that produce this compound.
So interesting. So DMS, carbon dioxide, you have a cocktail of chemicals which are not likely, as we understand it, to have been produced purely by accidental chemical processes, natural processes. So there is at least a possibility that there is some simple form of life, something like phytoplankton, what we would have on Earth, um, on that particular
Yes,
planet.
yes, and it could be phytoplankton, but it could also be that some of these red dwarf planets tend to be close enough that they have a lot of volcanic under the water. They have
Right. Volcanic activity.
volcanic activity, and so it could also this also happens on Earth, that there are volcanic fault lines, and sulfur is coming through there, and there are bacteria that are able to use that to create uh, energy out of the sulfur based. So again, I don't know the exact chemical processes. I'm just sharing what the limited information that I do have. So there's definitely a possibility that
Okay, okay.
you know.
So it's nothing, I would say, world shattering exactly, but it's an interesting new thing that's come out. We do want to touch quickly on another one new news item that's been in the news recently, obviously. The Mexico Congress hearing where apparently some mummified corpses were displayed.
Yeah. So we did an episode a few months back when the U.S. Congress was talking about the existence of aliens, and one of the things that we mentioned in that is that it would be interesting to see what other governments have to say.
Right.
The Mexican government has come out and actually shown bodies and pictures.
To be precise, the Congress held a hearing, and a specific reporter, a ufologist called Jaime Maussan,
Yes.
and his team brought out a couple of what appeared to be corpses of human form but non human creatures.
Yes, but we do want to give a caveat over here
Right.
because there have been previous fake attempts like this
Right.
in history to
And not even from that far back. And in fact, from even this same person has made claims and shown corpses which turned out to be mummified remains of children, human children, from excavations and archaeological digs.
And so I think the interesting thing over here becomes that there, as far as I understand, it's an open call for scientists to come and do some testing.
Right. So the challenge, the gauntlet has been thrown down. The challenge is now that they should provide samples,
Yeah.
and this has been repeated by scientists globally that if Jaime Maussan is on the level, he should provide samples so that they can be studied for DNA analysis and compared to what we would expect uh, for, for DNA from terrestrial life forms.
And to go even further, I think both the scientific and the journalistic method rely on more than one verification.
Right. We need independent verification.
You need, yeah, multiple independent verifications for it to be accepted as truthful or as fact.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is DNA analysis is a modern technology that is far advanced enough that it shouldn't take 10 years to figure this out, right? It's a question of,
It should take a couple of weeks to analyze a piece of
well,
DNA.
let's give it a couple of months, 6 months,
Sure.
right? You should be able to come back with some kind of like, well, we found that we cannot explain XYZ part of the DNA, or, well, no, this is complete a child's DNA.
Yeah.
We should be able to figure that piece out.
Interesting.
The human aspect of the DNA is super figurable. There's not going to be it's going to have same number of chromosomes, etc., etc. So
Right.
so it shouldn't take that long to figure it out.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting. You know what? Let's see. People are saying Jaime Maussan has apparently claimed that a NASA contractor will study the remains, the corpses, but apparently NASA has not confirmed this themselves. So there are many claims being thrown out there. There was this video. There's the congressional hearing. The corpses were displayed. Now the next step is obvious, as we just said.
Yeah, it's relatively obvious,
Yeah.
and I think it would be interesting to find out about it and then find out how the world reacts. I think that would be a very
Yeah.
interesting episode to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, it's even possible that it's not even non-terrestrial, extraterrestrial. It could be terrestrial life forms that we just didn't know about previously.
That's also a possibility, absolute possibility. So we just wanted to make sure that we keep
Yeah.
you guys up to date, because I think this "Are we alone?" question
I
is
think a lot of our listeners are interested in this, and we are, after all, Cambrian explosion, and we are interested in life and the technologies and the processes that might give rise to life. So.
Tell us your thoughts about what you think. Is this a hoax? Is this real? Do you want it to be a hoax, or do you want it to be real?
Exactly. Does it change things? Should it change things?
Yeah. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you very much. Take care.